dated January 1, 2017. This meeting will not substantially go past 10:30 p.m. And roll call, please.
Mr. Basso?
Here.
Mr. Kuda?
Present.
Mr. DeQuilla?
Here.
Mr. Fisher?
Here.
Mrs. Kingsley? Here. Mr. Pastor?
Here.
Mayor Woodrow?
Here. All please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Peter?
Yes, Mayor, we had our communication committee meeting, met on March 9th, which was great to have some new members present and get some things moving. There's a couple of things we discussed, just generally reviewing what's occurred currently, the addition of technology, which I think in terms of communications is hitting now, as well as the technology aspect, finding new things that we can continue to do to help communicate better with the town. I think that the live cast has actually worked very well. Simple things like the sound being so much better, and appreciate Sandra, who's now part of the team, helping us out with that. It has been a great help for John and everybody getting things like that going. We talked a little bit about, which is very obvious nowadays, social media, in terms of how we actually address and sort of work within what occurs on social media, trying to start thinking along those lines as a town and as a council, figuring out how we will start to approach that. And again, trying to increase that communication to the town. And again, different technology. There's a lot of things going on out there that we're going to start to try and take a closer look at, even in terms of some of the things that are happening on the website. We know the website is up and running, which is great. It's had some improvements. We're viewing it as sort of level one as a platform. It has a lot a lot of things that we can grow and start to build upon regarding the website. But things in terms of being able to get alerts and things that people have actually chosen different alerts you can get in town, and allowing people to stay in tune that way. It's one thing that I think has been successful, so starting to find other ways to integrate various communication channels. So ultimately, a good start, definitely some ways to go, but it was great to get everybody together and have some new blood on the committee.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Sure. Michael? Craig?
Yeah, just one thing. We attended the rec meeting last night, and one of the big things on the agenda, and one of the big things that they're truly responsible for, is improvement of the fields. So what the rec has done this last few months has walked all the fields. They've made recommendations for repairs. They are now working with the Board of Ed for the school fields, and they are creating a capital plan for field improvements. So we will get a copy of that shortly, so that we can get a look at it. And but it's one of their big items for this year, is trying to get that fields improved.
As an addendum to that, beginning in the summer programs, there'll be a fields component of all the fees that are going to be charged to the various, to your kids and so on and so forth, various programs. That component will go directly into a segregated fund, which will address the issue of fields on an ongoing basis. So I think it's part of really the approach. It's a good approach we're taking, but obviously we've got to fund it. And I think
that's what their capital plan is.
Correct.
Basically trying to show us basically how we can fund that.
Right, from what I've been told by Tommy, and from what I know from having been on that board for 7 or 8 years, our fees are very competitive with respect to other towns.
Right.
But other towns are including these components with respect to fields, so I think it's a good move. Thank you, Craig. Ms. Kingsley.
I just wanted to take a moment. This past week, the New Jersey Safe Routes to School announced their grant winners for 2016. And if anybody was paying attention, Chatham was awarded $374,000, and New Providence was awarded $462,000. So there are large amounts of money available for these grants. And these grants really don't happen by town employees and council people putting pen to paper. These grants really happen by communities coming together, putting together a significant amount of data to support children walking to school and walking to the Ys and walking to their recreational programs, and how they're gonna use their neighborhoods and their sidewalks and stuff effectively. And I know I've been talking about this for the last 2 years, and trying to garner support, but we are really, as a community, leaving significant amounts of money on the table, because as a community, we just aren't garnering enough interest in this to get this going. And I just am gonna make another public service announcement that we need to get our residents to care about our sidewalks and our paths, because, you know, we can get them fixed and we can get the capital, but we gotta start working together as a community to care and to get organized around this. And it's not about our few town employees doing it. It takes a lot of legwork and it takes a lot of data. And it takes neighborhoods working with the town and the police and the schools to pull that data together to then have the information available to apply for these grants. But we need to pull together, because I really, it's a shame that we're missing out on these dollars. Because we're paying the county taxes and we're paying the state taxes, and we need to be applying for these grants. So I'm once again asking the community to really think about coming forward, and if we could get some people to show an interest in this, I think we could really, you know, improve our neighborhoods. So
What type of data do you need?
you basically have to pull together a significant amount of data about, you know, the amount of children that you have walking, and in the interest in walking to schools and to the pool and to the after school programs, and the amount, you know, that type of information. It's a lot of statistics that have to happen.
I'm pretty sure you spoke to this a while ago.
I've been speaking to it continually, yes.
Has anybody stepped up from any of the local PTA, any of those groups? I mean, that's what we gotta get our data.
I have met with the Board of Ed. We had a principal assigned at one point, and that principal left, so we've been waiting for another. But it really takes, you know, neighborhood by neighborhood, school by school. We need parents to come forward that really wanna garner this, because, again, it's not something that the police chief and myself can do. We really it's gotta be driven within the neighborhoods where those people can really be out there getting the data. It takes multiple surveys throughout the year of how many kids are walking and how many more kids are going to walk by encouraging it. It's a lot of statistical data that you have to submit in order to file the grants. And I've talked to Chatham, I've talked to New Providence, and it's really a neighborhood by neighborhood,
Well, how did they get that off the ground? How did they get their respective?
through this, really it's been through the PTOs.
But why can't we develop a survey that has questions to garner the answers, or get an answer for the data?
It's not a one,
Give it to the individual schools and have them get it out to the parents and fill out the survey.
it's not a one survey, it's multiple surveys. It's
Okay, but
multiple pronged.
to help them,
Right,
help
we did,
us.
right.
I'd be happy to work on the survey.
It's more than one survey, I'm just saying, it takes a village. We need bodies, we need people to volunteer to say,
I
well,
think, Gene, to your point is, so they wanna see, when you apply, they wanna see a partnership.
Yeah,
They
they
wanna
wanna
see
see-
that everybody's on the same page. Board
it
of
takes a
Ed.
plethora of information. This is not a small grant to apply for, and you've gotta have a lot of, it takes,
I've
and
applied for them in the past and got turned down.
and I've met with the state
Just
coordinator
because-
multiple times, and every time I meet with the state coordinator, he tells me, don't even bother applying, you don't have nearly enough homework done. It's not worth it, and, you know, 1 or 2 surveys, we took a survey, and John, and we worked, and we met with the schools, and we did 1 round, and basically the state said to me, that's really nice, go home, you don't have nearly enough homework done, don't bother. So it takes a lot of groundwork, and it's gotta be followed
So
through.
we can see the data that was provided by Chatham, to probably
Yes,
get a
and I've
sense
met
of
with
what the
Chatham.
scale is for.
Right. Yeah, it takes a lot of organization.
Well, who was going to be the substitute representative for the school now that the principal?
I just got a name this the other day.
And when was the last time, when was the person that left, how long have they been gone?
Yeah, my outright community, we are live streaming to say, We need people to, this is just a lot of money. Second year in a row, I think if you collectively look at what Chatham's received, they've received over $1 million in the last 4 years for their sidewalks and their paths. And New Providence now is over $500,000, so we're leaving money on the table because we don't have enough interest to do the legwork, and we need help. And I'd like to get the help out there, because I think we should be going for this. We have paths that need help, we have sidewalks that need help, and we could be a great walking community. We've just got to prove we've got the interest in walking. We need to stop driving our kids to school and make them start walking. That's my plea.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Fraser.
Yes, we had another watershed event in our affordable housing saga. Last week, the planning board and the council voted to approve what's called our housing element and fair share housing plan. It's about 1.5 inches thick and is a compilation of all the different plans, reports and studies that we've done, and would serve to lay out our framework for how we're going to comply with our affordable housing obligations out until 2025. There's a hearing with the court on April 17th, and the goal there is to get the court's approval and get them to issue what's called a judgment of repose, meaning we're good and our plan would be followed through 2025. So hopefully in about a month we'll have a favorable report following that court hearing.
Okay, thank you. Briefly, on Friday, the Chamber of Commerce had their, I guess, annual meeting with the mayor and council. I will say this, I want to commend our local chamber. It's getting larger and larger. The turnouts are increasing each time I appear, and I think that bodes well. I spoke a little bit towards the changes that are going to occur downtown, and gave my opinion as with respect to, I think, how this town is going to increase in numbers, particularly within probably a half mile or 1/4 mile or so of many of these businesses. So hopefully this is a win-win for everybody as we get through this. So, John, anything?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
From our rec department, the winter season ended on Saturday, the 18th. Spring season began on March 20th and will end on Saturday, June 10th. Thursday, March 9th, we started registration for 4 weeks of Teen Scene Travel Camp in July. Weeks 1, 2, and 3 sold out in 45 minutes. Week 4 still has some openings. That evening, they also started registration for the 8 weeks of preschool camps that begin in June. All weeks sold out overnight, and we currently have a waiting list. Playground camp registration will begin on June 1st. From our DPW, we put down 5.5 tons of asphalt in the last 2 weeks. Road sweeper was out, did 18.7 miles of roadway, and swept up grit and salt that we had on the side of the roads. Country Drive, Club Lane, Lee Lane, Woodchip Road, Middle Way, Crest Drive is the area that we were in. On 3/13, in anticipation of the snowstorm, we put down 1,000 gallons of brine. No more brine's being made because now we've got to think about moving shortly down to the new location for the salt dome. The Welcome to Berkeley Heights sign, 3 more were installed. There are 2 left, Emerson Lane and McMahon Avenue. We also, Joe had some more stands made for our banners, and so they're not laying around, so everything is standing up. So it just makes it much easier and keeps them in much better shape. Preparation for the storm, we brought in our men at 12:30 and they plowed until 7 p.m. straight through on the 14th. I think that went actually pretty well. We did some training also. We had 3 of our guys go to tree pruning training. And we also had 2 guys go to field maintenance. On vehicle maintenance, we had 19 DPW vehicles were repaired. Most of them were plow related. 3 Board of Ed vehicles, 3 police vehicles, 2 rec and 2 sewer department. We're meeting with the Board of Ed on Friday. We had to change our meeting. They had a conflict for our meeting on Tuesday today. So I will have an update on the fields at the next meeting. From our construction department, we had 14 new applications, issued 31 permits, 6 updates. Number of plans reviewed were 57, and we collected $23,568 in permit fees. from our wastewater treatment department. February's monthly New Jersey DEP reports have been submitted on time. There was no violations. We also used 2/3 of the sewer department to help us with plowing. So once again, we're trying to have all departments work together on these emergencies. PM service work is ongoing at the treatment plant and the pump station equipment. On our disinfectant process, the PAA, we ran into a little problem and we're not really sure what's causing it, but the location that we started putting the PAA in, the medium, for some reason, started like almost clogging up. We're getting some type of growth or bacteria on it. So we went to DEP, we're allowed to move it, we put it in another location. We've got to complete the remaining automatic transfer switch upgrades. Twin Falls Pump Station, we had a check valve go out. What we're looking to do is we're gonna bring rapid pump in along with our own workers, our employees, that will keep our costs down and also give them experience on how this check valve would be replaced. So we'll be doing that one night when the flow is the lowest. Let's go to our zoning office. We had 13 plans reviewed and were completed. 2 variances were processed to the Board of Adjustment. We had 6 on-site property inspection for trees. We had 5 zoning violations issued, 1 summons issued, and follow-up on past notices. Tom is still working on updating section 12 on our trees in our plan. I'm sorry, I also wanted to mention we did receive at the wastewater treatment plant our final discharge of surface water renewal permit was granted to us effective May 1st. There are some changes to it, but it looks like most of them we can adhere to. They made some various reductions in certain items, but Tom thinks we should be okay. So that part is done. From our engineering department, we're continuing to bring along our new planning and zoning board secretary. We've got some unusual applications right now that she's working on, so we're trying to bring her along and help her out. The heating issues in the police department, we had a heater go down. We've got a quote to repair the unit at $2,285. We actually found another contractor for $2,300, who was the original that put the unit in for $2,300. So we're gonna replace the unit rather than trying to fix it. On our fire department heating and ventilation, the revised plans were sent back to resolve the issue back to the engineer at Core States. They're now completing the bid documents for our final review so we can advertise for public bidding. The FEMA grant for the generator fuel tank replacement at the sewer plant. Consulting engineer is still in the design phase. Strunk Albert should have that for us in about a week.
Well, I got a preliminary.
You got the
I
preliminary.
did get it sent today, I approved, so I sent it back to him. So
Okay.
we continue working on the remainder.
So the remainder of the bid documents, we're looking at about a week, we're
I
hoping.
would say.
Okay. Met with the Environmental Commission to develop a tree maintenance policy and procedure. That'll be useful in administrating the care of our trees as well as facilitating future grant applications. The path improvement program, Bob is working on that, not only including the path segment, but he's trying to map out all the paths in coordination with the township system of sidewalks in order to help us with our safe route to school system. So we're working on that. Then we'll look at repaving. We've got some numbers on that. It was quite expensive, so we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna be able to do. Winter operations procedure. We're also trying to put together just an operations manual, and anytime during the winter we get snow or storms, that type of thing, so that if somebody happens not to be here, we can go to the procedure policies and just follow them, and it should carry us through so we don't have a problem. Union County Infrastructure Grant, we're working on, it's due April 1st. Bob also attended an asphalt paving conference, which it must have been just stimulating.
What happens at the asphalt paving conference stays at the asphalt.
It was, I'll hit some of the highlights. It was all about recycled asphalt, smart rolling technology, upcoming new OSHA regulations on silica, New Jersey DOT upgrades, etc. Bob's also working on our recycling tonnage reports that we have to get from the businesses and recyclers. The last thing I wanted to do was our road improvement. I know, Mark, you would ask a question on where we are, so without further ado, Bob, if you would switch on. so we can show you, and if there's I will make copies for anyone who wants them. Bernie, you gotta adjust the iris when we turn that on, because it's just gonna be white when you focus on the screen. I'm the best man on the job. Got through the first part.
All right, Tuesday night time for the upgrades.
Oh, no, we didn't get through the first part. All right, I may have to resort to paper. No, okay.
Is that street covered with snow?
Let me get that.
I'm having password problems.
All right, why don't we carry on? If we may come back,
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor,
Carry on
and I will go make copies, so if we have to do it in paper form,
Okay.
we can do that. Just
Oh, I forgot that.
Does that conclude your presentation, Mr. Pacifico?
short of Mr. Vicino's
Okay.
fat fingering over there, it would have.
It would appear that our conference session and township council reports morphed into one another.
Yes.
So let's do this.
As they
With respect to reports, Mr. Cotto, do you have any township council report?
Township council reports. Just sort of downtown beautification committee. We started out looking at the banner designs. There's several banners, are narrowing it down. So far, we're down to deserted village, 3 acres, what Little Lloyd farmhouse. That's it.
Little
Little Lloyd farmhouse. Columbia, 3 acres I mentioned, and Mount Carmel. And we're getting closer to bringing it to the town council for approval and for the public input. We're looking forward to having a meeting with the public and sit back and listen to, pick and choose different designs and agree with what's going on. And also spoke with Mr. Mistretta, town planner, to go over Article 5 or Part 5 of the planning, and that's about it. There's no more part that Kingsley was there. So.
Peter, any township council reports?
No, Mayor, thank you.
No, other than, again, it was a great event on St. Patrick's Day here. The conference was great to see this room pretty much packed. So great all the community getting together and seeing more and more interaction, not only in Berkeley Heights, but also seeing Providence Summit. So again, all working together trying to see how they can grow their businesses. So it was a great meeting.
Thank you, Mike. Best one?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Kingsley?
I'm just gonna fill out a little bit on Mr. Kudos in terms of the beautification committee meeting. What the committee's been working on is a new banner concept for Springfield Avenue, and the concept was to design banners around traditions and landmarks and inventions that are unique to Berkeley Heights. And in that, we had approached Lucent to talk to them about their inventions that were invented in Berkeley Heights. So myself and Julie Lloyd had a meeting with the head of intellectual property from Lucent 2 weeks ago to talk to them just about which ones of their inventions actually were invented in Berkeley Heights, and could we get their permission to actually put them on a banner. And we just got an email today that the senior powers and the board at Nokia Bell Labs have actually given their blessing to let them work with us, to give us permission to actually put some of these things on our banners and to work with us as a town, so we can take credit for the inventions. So, and they're actually gonna give us the pictures and the backdrop, so it's pretty exciting that they are partnering with us, and we're gonna be working with Bell Labs on this project. So, they've been a great partner, and Julie and I got to go up there and tour their museum, which was fascinating, and the museum has been redone by the curators that actually have done Liberty Science Center. So for any resident who has not been up there, I highly recommend trying to get in there, because it was really, really beautifully done. And so to be continued, we're going to be working with them and bringing some draft banners up to the public to see. And the other thing we worked on was Article 5. Mr. Mistretta had sent a draft to us to get comment on, and we worked on a first round of that. So So as a committee, we kind of all gave our 2 cents. We'll send that back through Mr. Biciclo to give back to Mr. Mastretta, and I don't know, he'll do with it as he does. I assume it'll move forward with the planning board.
My recollection, not to give away my age, but all of you who had ever held a transistor radio in your
That's one of
hand,
them.
back in the late 50s and early 60s, the transistor was developed, as well as, I think, Telstar.
Tells us one of them. We have, I didn't want to give you the list of the
I
secrets
know,
that are coming
this
out.
is just my
Yes, we have a few inventions. A lot of it comes down to what year we take credit for Berkeley. It's being incorporated, because, you know, they moved here at a certain year, and it's a year's, so we have to get straight the records as to
Okay.
when Berkeley Heights is a
Sounds
town.
Would it be just an interesting way to, almost emphasize and highlight the brand of Berkeley Heights in a way? Besides that aspect, the technology, inventions, are there other things being considered that the town is known for, the fireworks?
That's the tradition. So that's what we said. So we're doing traditions, landmarks, and inventions. Is kind of what the
Gotcha.
themes of these
Okay.
banners. So Feast of Mount Carmel is one of the traditions that will
We
be.
got, it was a capital, not
And
capital.
so, all of these things will be brought forward once we have the plethora of them, but, it's very exciting that the Nokia Bell Labs is working with us.
Thank you, Ms. Kingston.
Yes.
Fraser, do you have any township council reports?
I do not.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion? Well, wait a minute, let's get Mr. Patino.
Well, we do have our technology up and running.
Set up, okay.
Basically, all I did is, I know we were requested to just give a list of the streets that we had planned to do and where we are on the schedule. So as I said, we're ahead of schedule. How I have listed there, the year all those streets were scheduled. This is per the plan. There's nothing missing there. The only one I didn't do is the last one on that list, Rosegate Court, which is off of Plainfield Avenue, on the other side of Mountain Avenue. And that's that was in one of the groups. It's a cluster, but it's kind of isolated by itself, so I kind of took that out. Considering the condition, it's in very good condition. And with, that money that I would have used for that, I got some other streets done.
I mean, it's difficult to see, I don't know what
I'll give you copies.
what are we, so I see dates.
Street, the year.
Yes, so the year was initially scheduled, and the year was actually not done.
Yeah, so as per the plan, paving plan, or the road condition plan, the first 1, 2, 3, 4 streets were scheduled for 2014. And remember that year, the capital money didn't become available until late in the year, so we did postpone that to the following year, which is why you'll see all the streets were done eventually in 2015. As per schedule, and again, there was minor changes. They were all done 2014, 15, 16. Some of them I did the prior year, just because there was a little bit of money left over. And if we go down further on the screen,
The rating is there too, is it not?
the rating's there too, yeah.
P equals poor.
P is poor, F is fair, so the one's fair to poor. So we obviously concentrated on, and that's how the plan was developed anyway, to concentrate on the poor streets first.
Thank you.
And if we go down, those are the streets scheduled for 2017. We see a couple of them we already did last year, Webster and Rutherford. And then if we go down even further, these are streets, and I'm sure it's all on the paper you're looking at, that were moved up, and we paved them in 2015 and 16. And you see the years they were originally scheduled at 18, 28, 23, so out in the future. But again, for the most part,
The ratings that are currently next to those roads were not necessarily the ratings that they had originally?
they were the original ratings.
Original rating?
Yes, they were the original.
Gotcha.
But as we've stated many times, we go out and we check these periodically. After storms and bad weather, we see roads that get damaged, and they may be fair at some point, but if they degrade too much, then we try to move them up in the schedule.
Plus, this also reflects the fact that some of these streets are clustered, and therefore it makes it easier to,
Yes.
Yeah,
Cheap-
generally we try to
right,
work with those clusters, but again, if there's a particular street that's, causing, a lot of them cause the DPW problems because we're plowing the streets and it's actually pulling up pavement when we plow, so, if there's an imminent concern, we'll try to tackle that. Spring Ridge Drive is one of those. You see, that wasn't scheduled for 2020, but it was, even though it's poor to fair, there were some sections that were beyond poor.
Right.
And so we just, did some curb work there and some drainage work and got that done.
This is good. And then you
Oh,
asked
then we want to go
for-
down further, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, then you asked for additional streets that we would,
Oh.
if funding was available, that we would look at. And that's the last group at the bottom.
Now, I just kind of put our top 10 in there, and I consulted some of my staff and myself, and worked with that list also. And like I said, I just kind of put together a top 10. The first two street lists there, the Orchard, Old Farm, Mercier area, and the Klein Place, I wanted to get some engineering work and surveying work done in there, because beyond the road condition, there's some drainage issues that I think we might have to put curbing in there to address. Once you put curbing in, that entails a whole bunch of other concerns as far as how do you get the water to where it's supposed to be, because now it used to flow off the roads into people's lawns, or from their lawns to the road, and now you put the curb there, so that keeps the water, so now you got to put drainage systems in. So, and that could entail changing the vertical contours of the road or the horizontal. So, again, I want the engineering work on those sections. They're not scheduled, I think, until 18 or 19, but if I can get that work done ahead of time, that will let us proceed quicker when that comes to that. So I'm estimating, again, about 12,000 apiece for each of those studies and engineering work. And then the rest is my recommendations for the street. Most of them are the poor streets, the exception being Snyder Avenue. I just threw that in there because we are going to be doing one section up by Mountain Avenue. So just to tie the whole street in, I thought it might be the time to do it, just to make it uniform.
Speaking of Snyder, do we have a timetable yet on when we're?
Spring, I reached out to the contractor for that one. That was the one that was held back due to the State Transportation Trust Fund.
And when you say spring,
Well, we're in spring now.
yeah. I mean, is this something, again, I just thought out feasible, we're gonna not, coming up, there's gonna be low sensitive kids coming up the week before Easter, spring
If
break.
we could work it out with them, I'm gonna try, again, the contractor,
Again,
what they do in the winter time, especially with this, they gear down for the winter, so they have to get their cable crews back in together, which they're doing now. So, yeah, I reached out to him, I'm waiting for a call back from him. I wanna, ideally, that's what I did on the section by the high school, knock that out during the break. If I can do it, I will certainly.
Okay, great.
I think the thing we just have to keep in mind, though, like we had an incident last year, we had Ghost Pony Road wash out that we weren't planning on doing. All of a sudden it was gone. So we didn't have a choice. So these are the type of things, although this is a plan, it can't be carved in stone. We have to look at it as a living, breathing object that we've got to worry about what happens out there. And we've got to address it as it's a very fluid thing. We've got to address it as it's moving.
Now, does this, obviously this doesn't represent every road in Berkeley Heights, or does it?
No.
I mean, yeah.
That's what I was gonna get at, Bob. I mean, this is helpful,
Yeah.
but it doesn't allow me to evaluate our entire situation in real time based on what we've done, what the original plan was, what we've done, so we've got that here, which is good.
The original plan is in there too.
Right. You know,
Piece of the original.
I'm saying it's a piece of the original plan that has the roads we've done, so that's what you had on the first page, which is your scheduled 14-year completed.
Yeah.
But then we don't have every road, and then I see what you're.
Well, do you have a copy, Mark, of the plan that was originally put together? The
Yeah,
booklet?
I've got it somewhere, yeah, but I'd rather not cross-reference this versus that. Can we just update the entire spreadsheet of all our roads?
I mean, I don't know, we'll have to see, if we have time, I mean, that's gonna be time consuming.
What I'm trying to do is evaluate, one, what have we done? Two, what was the original plan? I see some roads that have moved up, but how do we evaluate, should we move up more roads? Should we push some roads back?
Well, we do that on a regular basis, that's the point.
But we've got to make a judgment as to how many can we move up, how much is it gonna cost, can we move more up? You know, for example, a
Well,
road.
then how much money are we talking? I mean, I think that's the key. If you
Right,
give us
that's-
a figure,
that-
we can
but
tell you
that's
how many
what-
we can move up.
But that's what we need to evaluate, and you can't do it, especially since we bid them in groups.
Well, you've got 10 at the bottom that we say are the next 10 that we would look at. I don't know, can we even afford to fund those 10 right now?
What's the allocated, I don't have the budget sitting in front of me, maybe Michael does. Michael, do you know what the allocated capital budget is for the next year with respect to paving? I think it's around $700,000 or $800,000.
Yeah, no, it's not, given everything, it's about $1 million.
It's about $1 million. So we have we anticipate having $1 million to work with ballpark with respect to the roads. Is that fair?
Correct, through 2019.
Okay. So we can just do the math. It's not hard to do the math with respect to that. I understand Mark's point. Is road number 92, should that road now be 63? Okay. Well, the question here is, at what point in time, is this a constant, are we going to require our people out there on a constant basis to be evaluating roads?
Basically.
Well, we actually
do.
kind of do, yeah. I mean, I get
So-
just about every day.
Yeah, because you're evaluating because we drive on them.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're evaluating because people make phone calls and say,
Yeah.
my road's a mess. All right.
Right, and you can see, you know, there's roads I've seen that are in very poor condition. For example, one I happen to drive a lot, Cedar Green. It's like a minefield out there. And that's not on the list, and it's not on the top 10. And how do we evaluate those roads that have now moved up to critical level that aren't on this list and maybe could be or should be? So I don't know how else to do it. I'm open to other suggestions.
Well, I mean,
but-
we
Yeah.
did the original study, which
Right.
was the recommendation.
Sure.
I thought we all kind of agreed with that, and now I'm following that, basically, and except I'm a little ahead of schedule, as we're showing here now. I'm trying to, I tried to do you know, you could see the streets that I've done, you know, afterwards were poor streets, basically. So I'm trying to do what you're saying. I mean,
I'm not being critical of
Yeah, no,
anything
I
you're doing. Just the roads are in bad shape.
right.
We had another season where there was salt put out. Things got worse. Some maybe didn't get as bad as others.
Right.
And how do we evaluate how much we could advance this a little bit? I'm not suggesting we do all the roads at once. We've
No.
talked about that. We can't do it. It's not a good idea. But short of looking at these other roads, and if we've triaged them again, maybe we put another 10 in and see what the money would be, and then we make a judgment. But short of that, I don't know how else we can address it and evaluate.
So I'm not quite following what.
Let me turn it around a little bit.
Yeah,
The 10 roads that you have here,
yes,
it's estimated it'll cost about $525,000.
yes.
Well, we know we have $1 million, right? So we know at this point in time, we should have another $450,000.
There's 2017 paving is up in here, the
Right,
schedule already.
Right,
That
exactly.
500 is
All right, so we're,
on
all right.
top of.
That would be the
So
next
we're talking
10.
about
Right.
the four, all right, so you're talking 12.
No, but what would be helpful is to say, in the 2017 above paving of the bad roads, I'd like to see a map and a cluster. Some of it is if it's cluster paving and there's the bad roads, what else is around that cluster that might be bad?
Well,
Because,
that's one, I mean, we're working on, I don't have that list in front
right,
of me. One of the streets we're working on is Hillside and that timber area, so we're doing part of timber, that's why I'm including that
So
here.
for-
We're there already, I want to.
For example, when you talk about a clustering perspective, the additional roads moved up in the schedule and paved. You've got Oakland, Princeton upper section, Oakland, those are all right next to Cedar Green. So, again, not lobbying to do Cedar Green over other roads that may be even worse condition.
Well, last year, the reason why I have constraints, obviously, budget
Right.
constraints. So last year I had some money left over, those are smaller sections that were in bad shape, I did them, I didn't have, you know, enough to do the whole Cedar Green. I mean, and it's a judgment call, obviously,
Sure.
too. I mean, I could always be second guessed, there's no question about that, there's plenty of bad roads to go around, and I get calls just about every day, why is my road not?
Right, and nobody's
So for me-
second guessing,
No,
we're just
no,
trying
I
to,
get
we're
that,
just
but-
trying to,
No, I'm
if we
saying,
can in a balanced way, dedicate more money
Yeah.
to do more roads quicker and get bang for the buck.
So my
why
question
don't
was, do
we-
you
why
want
don't we-
additional?
Why don't we take a look tomorrow and get back to them?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to
Yeah, I'll
study
talk,
it.
yeah, we'll come up with it.
We're not gonna be able to settle it right now.
Okay.
This
Any-
one?
Anything else, Bob?
No, I think that's all we got there, yeah. That's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bosso, do you have a motion with respect to township council reports?
Just one quick question before we move to that. I know it's always comes up, people just baseball, lacrosse, the other thing is football pickup. Anything more with dates on that? or-
We're putting out the bids for that.
I'm in the middle of drafting, I gotta go over the dates, where they enter the
Okay.
dates and stuff, so.
But we'll have that out to bid in the next.
Yeah, the next week or so.
And I think we got dates, we have tentative dates.
Yeah, I have the
We've already
dates, I
said we
just gotta
got-
work out the bid dates. I have the dates for the program, but I gotta advertise that for public bidding, so I gotta look at the dates we'll receive them and we can realistically award them, you know, with the council schedule.
I
and
think it
those
matches
logistics.
before June.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
I move that all town council reports be accepted and approved.
Second.
Second discussion, vote?
Mr. Cavazza?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. DePillo?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pastore?
Yes.
Pastor?
I move the township minutes for executive session on August 23rd, 2016, public hearing on February 7th, 2017, and public hearing on February 21st, 2017, even though it says 21. As distributed, be accepted and approved.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Vote?
Mr. Cavazza?
I abstain from the executive session, yes to February 7th and yes to February 21st.
Mr. Kudo?
I abstain from the executive session and yes to public hearing February 7th and February 21st, 2017.
Mr. DePillo?
Abstain from the executive session as I was not present at the meeting, and yes for the public hearings.
Mr. Fisher?
Abstain from the executive session August 23rd as I was absent, and yes as to the public hearings on February 7th and 21st.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes to the executive session, yes to the public hearing on February 7th, 2017, and I abstain from the public hearing on February 21st, 2017.
You mean February 7th, so.
No, I was here on February 7th, not here on February 21st. Okay.
Mr. Pastore?
Yes. With all this abstaining and executive. Sorry. Okay. Moving on.
Mr. Bodo?
I hereby move to open a hearing on agenda items only.
Second.
Motion second, discussion, vote?
Mr. Cavazza?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. DePillo?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pastore?
Yes.
Okay, this is on the agenda items only, 3 minutes, and Mr. Pastor will be our timer. It's now open. Mr. Bodo?
Seeing no one, I hereby move to close the hearing on agenda items only.
Second.
Motion second, discussion, vote?
Mr. Cavazza?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. DePillo?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pastore?
Yes.
Mr. DeQuilla?
Yes, I move resolution number 1, approving the bill list dated March 21st, 2017, in the amount of $429,865.01.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion, vote?
Yes,
Hold on.
Oh,
sorry.
discussion.
Mr. Pacifico, there was a charge on there for emergency generators or electric generators. Were you able to get some information on that?
Yeah, those are portable generators that we bought to replace some old and unreliable ones. During a storm, we need the generators. Sometimes the traffic light goes out, we actually take them out, put them next to the traffic light, chain them up. So the ones that we're replacing, they're gonna go on gov deals. So they were just, I think we bought, Bob, do you remember how many we picked up?
No,
I don't remember offhand. But yeah, that's what that was for, DPW generators.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Vote?
Mr. Cavazza?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. DePillo?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pastore?
Yes.
Mr. Ms. Kingsley?
I move resolution authorizing transfers within the 2016 municipal budget reserves.
Second?
Second discussion? Vote?
Mr. Bavasso?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. Tequila?
Yes.
Mr. Fasher?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pastore?
Yes.
Pastor?
I move resolution 3, encouraging anti-idling.
Second.
Any discussion on anti-idling?
I just, rather than sit here idly by, I had a
Give me a
question,
softball
Joe.
there.
Really?
I see in the second page of this, it has a code and an asterisk. Is that just a blank to put the state code in there, or?
This didn't come from me, so I didn't draft this, I don't know what that's
Do
mentioned.
you know who drafted that, Anna?
Imagine it's environmental commission.
Environmental Committee?
This is
Is there anyone here from the environmental?
21 points.
It looks like that we should just put the code section in there, I suspect, is what they're doing, so. With that,
What is encourage, you would say encouraging? versus-
Encourage people not to idle, so there's.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
So,
this is,
is it like, hey, let's not do it?
Yeah, don't
or
do
is
that.
Yeah, this wouldn't be a actionable, summonsable type of offense, it would just be encouragement and the support, showing support on behalf of the township.
Didn't we sign one of these before?
yes.
Yes, every year, it's part of our, our Sustainable New Jersey Act.
Did we actually
All right,
approve it? Because I don't
environmental
remember approving.
We did.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did.
So have we
It's
I'm
been,
fine.
totally against anti-idling, just.
have we been,
We did it last
have
We
we been
encourage our
adhering to
school
the
buses.
anti-idling during this time?
Okay.
Chief, as Chief De Pasquale, since your office is probably
Most
the most idle.
They have different laws.
How have you attempted to deal with it?
They can't.
For our officers and our vehicles?
Yeah, right.
We certainly try not to idle, but a lot of times our vehicles do have to be idle.
At the
Okay.
schools, though, they do not allow you to idle and pick up the school buses. The
Right.
school, we're doing it at the school areas, we are doing a good job of making the parents turn their cars off, not allowing sitting and idling, not allowing people to sit for the half-hour parent pickup lines. So we are.
These are the same tranches kids should be
Well,
walking.
they should be walking and not idling at all.
So they
Somebody
get
using our
grants.
sidewalks and having grants.
All right.
But
And we
yes.
try to make sure our DPW guys don't leave trucks.
Very
idle
good
and
point,
that
Mayor
type of
Worthing.
Thank you.
It's not illegal, it's frowned upon.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're passing this, we're frowning. Okay, so let's vote.
Mr. Bavasso?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. Tequila?
Yes.
Mr. Fasher?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pastore?
No. Just to be the anti-idling, anti-idling.
Well, to be fair, Mr. Pastor, I mean, it includes language that you may not agree with respect to establishing why you don't idle. I mean, that's a different story, okay? But the concept of not idling is what it is. All right. Okay, moving on. Mr. Barbosa.
Move resolution number 4, authorizing the participation in the Union County Cooperative Pricing System for the purchase of work, materials, and supplies.
Second.
John, I have a question. What does that encompass, okay? What are some of the things that this co-op provides to us?
We would use this spot, this is, would have in our paving, there's literally pages of items you can go through there. If we hit something, we can go to the co-op and buy it.
We can
Are we-
get another office for the protective bureau.
Another trailer.
Are we still involved in Randolph?
I don't know about Randall, Middlesex, right?
We're still involved in that a little bit?
Yeah, that's
Morris
Morris County.
County Co-op,
Yeah.
okay.
I think we have Middlesex too, don't we?
Yes.
So do each of these co-ops offer some of the same services and we shop around to see what
Yeah.
might be best?
There's some overlap, but they all have their own specialties.
Okay.
There is some overlap in there.
Okay, thank you. Vote?
Mr. Bavasso?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. Tequila?
Yes.
Mr. Fasher?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pastore?
Yes.
Kudo.
I hereby move to authorize consent agenda A through C.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Vote?
Mr. Bavasso?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. Tequila?
Yes.
Mr. Fasher?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pastore?
Yes.
Motion of ordinances. Anna, would you please read ordinance number 1?
An ordinance of the Township of Berkeley Heights, County of Union, State of New Jersey, authorizing the lease in Summit Area YMCA.
ordinance is read by the clerk be offered on first reading, that April 4th be set as the day for public hearing, and that the clerk be directed to advertise same in the Courier News.
Second.
Second, any discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, we reproduced the lease that's the subject of this ordinance. It's up front if you haven't gotten it. It wasn't part of the agenda packet, but it is here for everyone's review, and if you're interested, feel free to pick it up. Joe, I just saw one thing in the lease itself, in 4A, it should reference the schedule that's at,
To the whereas clause, schedule.
okay, it's in the whereas, so
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
in the whereas clause, the first whereas clause on page 2, it references it, but I think your point is valid, we should probably reference it, make an amendment to reference it.
Right.
Actually, within
And
4A as well.
And the other comment was it just doesn't have the schedule reference on it, so we should just put that heading on in the way it was printed. This is just, it's one Excel sheet, not two.
Correct, it was just the
Right,
timing,
it
we
just-
weren't, we weren't able to format it, but it will be formatted for the final version.
Yeah.
We're finalizing the last terms of it as of 5
Right.
o'clock this afternoon, so.
Okay, just by way of information here, I spoke to Mr. Sikla concerning what I know is an issue with some of the individuals living in that area, specific to traffic on Timber Drive. Is that correct, John?
Yes.
And I know you at least met at least once, if not more, with certain citizens. Can you just tell us where you're at?
Mike Estrella has said that he'll have a report by the end of the month on all of the ideas that we kind of were throwing out, see what would work and what wouldn't work.
Okay.
So within another week or so, Mike should have us some information.
And Mayor, in the lease itself, we do have a provision there that states that if the YMCA understands that it has to comply with, or comply with the potential traffic imposition when it gets raised in connection with the site plan application and so forth. So at this point, we couldn't put any specifics in the lease, but we do reference to that compliance that will be required.
Very good. Thank you, Joe. Vote?
Mr. Vavasio?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. Patillo?
Yes.
Mr. Fasher?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pastore?
Yes.
Anna, please read ordinance number 2.
An ordinance of the Township of Berkeley Heights, County of Union, State of New Jersey for the calendar year 2017 to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap back NJSA 48:4-4514.
Ms. Kingsley?
Okay, I move that the ordinance is read by the clerk be offered on first reading, that April 4th, 2017 be set as the day for public hearing, and that the clerk be directed to advertise same in the Courier News.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Vote?
Mr. Vavasio?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. DeQuilla?
Yes.
Mr. Fasher?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pastore?
Yes.
Okay, I have my one duty every year from an introduction standpoint, and we never seem to get this correct. Michael, you are going to present some information, is that correct? Okay, so why don't we have you present the information, and then I will deal with the introduction. This has to do with the budget.
Yes, sir.
No, it's not.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not going to go into the whole budget presentation, as we did that already. But anybody who's interested who has not done so, that presentation that was from March 2nd is available on the website, Berkeley Heights PWPNJ.gov. You can use the Google, it's on there. It's under Finance Department. Nothing's really changed since our second budget meeting. We are currently $134,079 below the levy cap, the 2% levy cap. We have a municipal increase of approximately $18.45 per household. of 0.79%. We have an increase in the library levy of $7.24, or 0.31%, for a total average annual increase of $25.70, or 1.09%. Additionally, the entire state budget document, as well as the user-friendly budget document, are available on the website.
Okay, does anyone have any questions of Mike? John?
Just one question, Mike. This is, again, as we've stated, this is just the plan, doesn't authorize, we still have to come back on the capital part before we do anything, correct? Okay. So you would have to pass an ordinance vote on it, just so everybody's clear on that.
The other thing is, Mike, this can change right up to the point of final adoption, correct?
Correct. We can amend it in.
All right, well, I move the approval of the 2017 budget for introduction and establishing April 18, 2017 as the date of public hearing and final adoption. Let's give a second.
Second. There's a second.
Just a couple seconds. All right, any discussion? Vote?
Mr. Vasa?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. DeQuilla?
Yes.
Mr. Fasher?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsland?
Yes.
Mr. Pistol?
Yes.
Mr. Pastor?
I move to open the citizens' hearing.
Second. Yeah, any discussion? Vote?
Mr. Vasa?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. DeQuilla?
Yes.
Mr. Fasher?
Yes.
Mrs. Kingsland?
Yes.
Mr. Pistol?
Yes.
Okay, the citizens' hearing is now open. 2 minutes each citizen. Mr. Pastor is our timer. Oh,
There we go.
Ms. Holland.
Day Hollowell, 21 Bristol Court. I just wanted to make an announcement that Ted Romenko, the former chair of our Veterans Memorial Park Committee, is receiving the Suburban Chamber of Commerce Good Neighbor Award tomorrow evening for all of his work on Veterans Memorial Park. It's quite a nice honor, and so it should be something that our citizens should know about. The other thing I'd like to do is thank Anna Minkoff and Patty Donahue. They have been incredibly helpful, especially to some of our senior citizens looking to participate and have a loved one remembered with the Hometown Hero Banner program. Sending things digitally, doing all these things can be a bit overwhelming when someone has a photograph that's 50, 60 years old. So they have been very helpful in scanning those things in and then getting them to me. So I just want to thank Anna for all her hard work and also to Patty for definitely.
Thank you, Ms. Holland. And I will be there tomorrow night also, and my congratulations, thank you, Mr. Peter. My congratulations to Ted. And there may be one or two other entities from Berkeley Heights who may be recognized, so we're looking forward to that. Okay.
Sorry.
Susan.
Tom Macheski, 40 Ralph Place. This was actually asked by somebody online, but they wanted to know if the traffic study was completed. I think that was promised to them, that the traffic study would be completed prior to going forward. Is that still the plan?
On what?
For the YMCA lease.
Well, again, it has to go through the planning board, the traffic study will be done at that time, correct, Joe? I mean, it can't go any further than that.
Correct, correct. We have in the lease that they're gonna have to comply with, Mike Mistretta will be reviewing, and his office reviewing any application. They have to, if the lease goes forward, the Y would still have to file a site plan application with the planning board. At that time, then the actual traffic demand can be evaluated, and a traffic study has to be submitted by the applicant, and the township and the board, and Mr. Mistretta can then evaluate it. To try to do so now in a pie in the sky as to what could be there versus potentially versus what they're gonna actually site design for is a lot different. So it's better, and it's to have it all done at the site plan level, and that's what we discussed, rather than trying to come up with some abstracts and put things that may not work. We'd actually see pen and paper as to this is what's proposed, this is what demand will place on the road, and these are the best possible ways to address that. And the Y has agreed in the lease that they will address that at that time.
And is there a chance to back out on either side later on if those plans don't meet up with each other?
There's contingency periods in the lease where if the Y doesn't get their approvals, they can terminate. If the Y doesn't comply with any of the terms, the township can terminate the lease. Yes, and that's throughout the lease term.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Pastor?
I move to close the citizens hearing.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Vote?
Mr. Lavasa?
Yes.
Mr. Kudo?
Yes.
Mr. Tequila?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Pastore?
Yes.
Okay, I do not believe they're in executive session, is that my accurate?
You're correct.
Okay. Well then, Mr. Lavasso, it falls to you.
I move to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good evening. Come.
Thank you.